Hello, I'm the Media Wiz, because one art form wasn't enough. I've said it before on this show, and I'll say it again. I love Mel Brooks' movies. Every time I've looked at a terrible spoof movie for this show, I've always looked back on Mel Brooks as being one of my personal favorite comedians and satirists. Sure, his work may have gone down over time, but his good stuff, to me, has always stayed great. The man will always be known for his legendary satires on Hollywood genre films like Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, and of course, Spaceballs. Like with Young Frankenstein being a comedic spin on the Frankenstein story and Blazing Saddles being a satire on westerns, Spaceballs is a comedic retelling of Star Wars as well as other sci-fi like Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, Transformers, etc. Since the movie did very well in terms of home video release sales, Brooks finally decided he would make a follow-up. But instead of getting Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money, we got an animated series for the G4 network in 2008. With Brooks taking a producing, writing, and voice acting gig as both President Scroob and Yogurt once again, the series lasted one season with 13 episodes. Apparently the series actually came out on a delayed deadline and was pushed back from its original scheduled release of 2007. Supposedly this is because of a mixture of writer-producer complications, executive delays, and promotion for the show being done way too early before the show was even remotely finished. Before we look at the first episode, there's supposedly a pilot episode of the show that serves as a sum-up of the original movie, but this pilot is only available on certain DVD releases, apparently. Other than that, it basically hits the reset button on everything. Lone Star and Princess Vespa didn't get married, and Planet Spaceball didn't steal any air. Oh, and another thing, the planet is actually renamed to Planet Moron. Why? It's not like Spaceball itself is an actual swear word. I mean, it's bad enough when they actually have to recreate lines from the movie and make them more TV appropriate.
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
I'm surrounded by bleep holes.
It does make you wonder why even change something like that when they could air something like this on TV.
That's Indian for holy shit.
Television censorship, double standards. Okay, let's look at the first episode. The first and only episode in this series that parodies anything remotely Star Wars, titled Revenge of the Sith. We begin with the theme song, showing everyone running out of their dressing rooms and onto the main set for a group shot with Yogurt.
We'll show no pity, there's no helping hand. They'll destroy your city, they'll destroy your land. Run for shelter, helter skelter, they are in command.
As for the theme song itself, I really don't like it. It's supposed to be a goofy song while also showing how ominous the Spaceball army is, but we already have a song from the movie soundtrack that did it in a catchier way. The episode itself begins with an even shorter than normal Dark Helmet, voiced by, oh, I am so sorry, D. Bradley Baker. He tries to get change out of a machine in one of President Scroob's casinos, but wah wah, it's a trash can.
Oh, this lousy slot machine took all my money. I've been shoving space nickels into it for hours and it hasn't paid off once.
That might be because this is a trash can.
Trash can?
He then goes into a back room where he's given a peep show by a robot stripper with inflatable breasts.
Hi there, short, dark, and helmeted.
Hello. Hello.
This movie brought to you by some weirdos at DeviantArt. Now yes, it is pretty commonplace for Mel Brooks to put at least one joke about boobs in his movies.
Work, 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 work. Hello, boys. Have a good night's rest. I missed you.
Considering how many times they do it in this show, hell, this episode alone, you'd swear you were looking at the sketchbook of a 14-year-old boy. He gets conked on the head after the robo breasts explode in his face, and we flash back into his past. Meant to be a parody of Anakin Skywalker's backstory in The Phantom Menace, even down to Helmet's real name being Panikin Crybaby. And in fairness, I actually did laugh at that. That's actually kind of a clever play on the name. And for some reason his past self looks like a rip-off Jimmy Neutron with glasses. He and his mom live as slaves in a bra store under the oppressive thumb of a young President Scroob, and soon under the rule of a Darth Maul parody named Outlet Mall. And unlike the name Panikin Crybaby, that name is just grown-worthy. Yogurt comes into the store looking for a bra for his wife named Yenta. He's quite fond of the one that Panikin made, and he's interested in taking him and teaching him in the ways of the Schwartz. But Outlet Mall isn't taking that sitting down, so they decide they'll figure out the slave boy's fate through a good old-fashioned round of pod racing, which is boiled down into one big joke about NASCAR. How sad is it when the laughably bad animation in Brinquedo's Little Cars movies is a better racing scene than this? Anakin wins and heads off to Yogurt School of the Schwartz and Dirty Dancing. Because come on, I mean, when you think the Star Wars prequels, how do you not think of Dirty Dancing?
Excuse me. Can anyone help me?
What's the matter?
My name's Harley, and I'm a princess.
Why does this princess look like Princess Vespa? I mean, even if they're trying to go off of the whole Anakin and Padme thing from the prequels, it still doesn't make sense, because in the original Spaceballs movie, Princess Vespa had a father, and it wasn't Dark Helmet. I mean, Dark Helmet had no biological connection to Vespa or Lone Star, remember?
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
Very creepily, he uses some kind of Schwartz mind control ability to make her go to bed with him. Well, I didn't think it was possible, but you made a creepier relationship than Anakin and Padme. He wants to marry her, but she says that she won't since he's not a Schwartz master yet. And not because he's, I don't know, a child or something. He decides that he'll fight Outlet Mall, thinking that this will make him a Schwartz master in the process.
I figured I'd find you here in the bottomless pit room.
Why?
'Cause big confrontations always happen next to bottomless pits.
They do, don't they?
After this squabble, a young President Scroob takes him under his wing and declares him a Schwartz master. But the princess still won't marry him because of a single bump on his head. And soon enough, Scroob then gives him his signature helmet.
This'll hide that bump nicely. From now on, you shall be known as Dark Helmet.
Thank you, Master. I will never take this helmet off. Never.
In the movie, he's always lifting up his face mask, revealing his face. Or is that supposed to be the joke, that he says that and he contradicts himself? And trust me, the question, is that supposed to be the joke, is something you're going to be asking yourself a lot while watching this show. I mean, if the parodies of something easy to satirize, like the Star Wars prequels, were this bad, you know they're going to botch parodies of literally anything else. I mean, there was a Star Wars animated series on at the time. Why didn't they parody that? Well, anyway, other episodes of this show include them doing episodes about Spider-Man, Terminator, Titanic, a Tron parody where they end up in games like Grand Theft Auto, a fast food-themed spoof of Lord of the Rings with the most obvious parody title, a Jurassic Park spoof where they make fun of baseball players taking steroids, an episode that crosses over Harry Potter and Caddyshack, a really shallow Pirates of the Caribbean parody that barely spoofs anything from the movies, and I kid you not, a parody of American Idol. Good job, guys. You made fun of an easy target that even those Seltzerberg hacks made fun of in Meet the Spartans. That was Spaceballs the animated series, and it sucks. And blows. At the push of a switch. This show lacks any of the passion that the original movie's satire had, instead feeling lazier and more superficial, with parodies that even modern college humor and Funny or Die would throw in the trash, animation that's so choppy and unappealing it almost borders on Slim Shady Show levels. Most of the new actors try their best to work with the crap that they're given, and most of the returning voices like Joan Rivers, Daphne Zuniga, and even Brooks feel like they're phoning it in. This entire series just screams flash in the pan, with all of its unfunny takes on at-the-time current releases. It's no surprise this series didn't get a second season, as the 13 episodes that they already had were unpleasant enough as it was. Before I even watched any episodes of this show, I looked it up on Google Images, and it's exactly what I was expecting it to be. A cheaply made Flash cartoon meant to capitalize on one of the most popular comedies of all time. In short, this show was to Spaceballs what Star Wars Detours would have been to Star Wars.
Dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Why everybody hate me so?
Well, how honest do we want to get?
Hey, Sid. A commercial audition, really?
Do you not get it, people? His name was Windu, and he went out a window, huh?
I'm the Media Whiz, because One Art Form wasn't enough, and I'm just gonna watch the original movie to wash the taste of this awful show out of my mouth.
If you're living in a bubble and you haven't got a care, well, you're gonna be in trouble, 'cause they're gonna steal your air. 'Cause what you got is what we need, and all we do is dirty deeds. We're the Spaceballs. Watch out, we're the Spaceballs. We're the masters of space.
Don't mess around.
so powerful, I'll be able to eliminate taxes!
It's time to learn about taxes!